is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Acura Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, one day I hope on one of these Tuesdays or Fridays in our Acura Pembroke Pines report, I want to see you in a car. I want to see you bring your camera and bring your microphone, and I want to see you seated in one of those Acuras. I want to talk to you in the vehicle itself, luxuriating in the moment. So maybe we can work that out. It won't exactly be like Jerry Seinfeld and Two Men in a Car or something like that, but maybe we can work that out as well.
I got to talk to Larry. Maybe I could do it inside an NSX, which would be nice.
And then when no one's looking, if I could drive away, hey,
get out of here. By the way, Ira, you know, in the last calendar year, let's see, we got an MLS team that cheated, had
Correct.
5 DPs instead of 3, had the biggest MLS fines in history. We got an NHL team who unfortunately made a bad decision, putting a coach that was involved in a really terrible situation, and now he has resigned. And then we have a football team that's trying to that is associated with an alleged sexual predator, and they're allowing themselves to be associated. Aren't you glad you're covering a basketball team that really is not involved in any of the crazy controversies that we have going on over the last calendar year?
I'd like to say yes, but over the 34 years of the team, as you know, there's always something. And there's been plenty of drama around this team also, and you can't avoid it in any of sports. And you know what? That's why it shows maybe more than anything, you need a strong and committed front office. You know, let's look at the MLS situation. Andy Ellisberg knows the rules. He's not going to get caught, you know, with the hand in the cookie jar. Now, he might sign someone or talk to someone ahead of time to get a competitive advantage. But even going back to Juwan Howard, to this day, the Heat attorneys and Pat Riley insist they were on the right, that they submitted their contracts in order, and that the NBA was the one who got it wrong. And when it comes to morality and things like that, the Heat get on top of it. The Heat have sent players away. They've said, hey, you stay away until we get this taken care of. Then we'll work it from there. And I think that's really part of the bad look here also. Look, hiring Joe Quenneville and what the Panthers knew at the time, nothing wrong with that. No one knew anything at the time.
No.
And honestly, I think what exacerbated this situation is, like you mentioned, was letting him coach that game on Wednesday night. Just the look, just the optics of it. So on Wednesday night, Coach Q and the Panthers thought there was nothing wrong with him being the face of the franchise on the bench as they extended their winning streak. A lot of times in this game, it's optics. A lot of times we've seen it. I've seen it with the Heat. To a player, something else, stay away for now. Just stay away from now. We'll get it settled. We'll get it figured out. You're talking about, it's not even the NFL. It's not even college football. It's one of 82 games. You get it taken care of, it looks better. Look, this was going to happen to Coach Q anyway.
By the way, they did it last year with the center when he had the anti-Semitic comments.
Myers Leonard was banished away. He was not traded for that. That was a salary cap thing, but that's a perfect example. Take time off. Let's get the heat off our franchise. Do it that way. And instead, you wind up in a situation like this. Look, the optics still aren't good because the Panthers management is still there. They still allowed him to coach that day. This doesn't go away with a statement or two, although I'm going to be honest here because I know sports and Orlando Alzugaray knows sports. The Panthers keep winning. It all gets moved aside. And you talk about how it's the players more than the coaches.
Yeah, plus they weren't part of this crime. They weren't part of the cover-up. They weren't part of it. They just made one bad decision. So I'm not going to hold their feet to the fire like we should hold the Chicago Blackhawks to the fire. You know what I mean? By the way, Ira, when you mentioned that whole thing with Juwan Howard, the memories flashed. I'm at 940 Wins. I'm doing the show at the Miami Arena inside that little lounge, and we introduced Juwan Howard, and I interviewed him on the air and everything, and welcomed him to the Miami Heat room. Oh, God.
And a week later, even a bigger contract with the Washington Wizards, and life went on. And you know what? And it still worked with PJ Brown, and they wound up getting Dan Marley as a consolation prize, which again shows you know the organizations that are successful find ways through the trauma.
Right.
So in other words, the Heat lost Juwan Howard. They found their way through the trauma. Myers Leonard got in trouble. The Heat found Trevor Ariza to boost themselves. We'll see now with the coaching change what the Panthers do. but that's part of the process also, is you get through it. And just like you mentioned with the Deshaun Watson thing, if someone would just come out, look, the trading deadline's November 2nd anyway. The odds of something happening in the next 4 or 5 days are so minimal that someone should just come out and shut this whole thing down now. And you know what? If it changes, you can always say at whatever the witching hour is on November 2nd, something changed. We saw a report from the district attorney. We heard from the player. But until then, the way that the Dolphins have allowed this to fester, my appreciation for Tua and the way he has comported himself in the last week of the show, what's going on with all this has gone absolutely through the roof. What a poised young man. And you know what? Maybe that poise turns around and you see it in the pocket and other things going forward.
You know what I would like the Dolphins to do? My buddy Ben Albright, who does an excellent job of covering the Broncos over there in Denver, and he reported that the Broncos have been out of the Deshaun Watson thing with the allegations, and they said, we until that clears up, we're not. I just wish the Dolphins would have done the same thing as the Broncos.
But even if you say that, then you're saying you're still considering it. You're still putting the pressure on Tua. You're saying he's not your guy going forward. It still creates that. It's Pat Riley once told one of his assistants, for better or worse, there's nothing wrong in lying with the media. Now, someone like me, there's a lot wrong with that. But I think there's a nuanced line in between there where you can move past the controversy with the right comment and the right phrasing. Look, Coach Flo has to talk every day. That's really tough for him because, the reporters down here on the Dolphins beat are very good. And they'll tell him, well, last Tuesday you said, well, last Thursday you said. So It puts him in a tough position. No, I have to say, covering the team I am, happy where they are in the standings, happy where they are in the social media side. I got no complaints.
Yeah, although on the flip side, I think we all feel bad for Panther players right now because they don't deserve any of this. They have fought through all the adversities of trying to become a really good franchise, and they're on the brink of that because with the playoff run playoff appearance last year and the playoff run now, they're finally going to get to that place that they've been wanting to be at for a long time, where the Miami Heat have made a home for 25 years, something that no other team has been able to do.
And that's what concerns me also about getting a big personality like Tortorella in there, where he's going to make himself part of the story. And maybe you low-key it and you stay with the assistant. You get someone a little simpler. Yes, John Tortorella has championship experience, but man, that guy is a load to work with and a load to work for. So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, what about if it's only for 3/4 of a season? What about if it's only that, Ira, that you only have Tortorella only for this year, just so because you have a Stanley Cup type team. He had success with that same goalie. So those two have.
I know Tort's going back to a lot of his other stops. I'd rather keep it just kind of simple to focus off the coaching lane. Yeah.
He wears it out. Everywhere he goes, he wears.
All right, let's talk some Heat.
Yes, let's talk some Heat. All right, we got some Hornets tonight. And in years past, this was like a gimme game, nothing. This is a different Hornets team now. This is this is a nice challenge for the Miami Heat tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting because last year's draft, there was a lot of questions who should be the top pick, who should go earlier. Everyone was afraid of LaMelo Ball because of his dad. And I think because we burned out the whole LeVar Ball thing, because even if LeVar is in the background going, now, look at me. No. We'll look at your kids because Lonzo has been great in Chicago, because LaMelo has been great in Charlotte. These kids are great players. They had the nerve to go out and take him. It was the right pick. They went out. They took Bridges. It was the right pick. They built a nice young core. Oh, this is what matters to me the next two nights. Tonight, the Heat play the Hornets at FTX Arena. Tomorrow, they play the Memphis Grizzlies, coming off a very big win against Golden State in Memphis at FedEx Forum. These are two of the 5 youngest teams in the NBA. The one thing we know about the Miami Heat is they're not young. And I'm curious on a back-to-back how the legs hold out against these kids who can run and run and run. Because for all the Heat talk about, they're going to play at a faster pace and everything. This is the first back-to-back of the regular season. The first of 14 back-to-backs. How do they play it? Perfect world, I think you go all in tonight. Would not be shocked when I land in Memphis tomorrow if they say players X, Y, and Z are sitting out. It might even be the prudent thing. So you have to get tonight. But Kyle Lowry has a very real elbow injury. He has that bursitis. That elbow is swollen. You have to be careful with a 35-year-old. Always we get older, it gets that much more difficult.
And a bad ankle. And a bad ankle.
Just still coming off of that. So I am curious to see how the Heat handle it. But again, during the regular season, not as much in the playoffs, you're going to face a lot of young and feisty teams. Can the graybeards keep up with it, or can they impose their will to a degree where the pace slows down tonight against LaMelo, tomorrow against Ja Morant?
Yeah, and you make a great point. Also, this is a conference game. Tomorrow night is not a conference game.
Yes, divisional game could impact it. Last year, I know people think divisions don't matter in the NBA anymore, but it almost came down to the tiebreaker between the Heat and Hawks, whoever won the Southeast. So it could matter. And the Southeast is really good this year because not only are we talking about the Hornets, of course, we're talking about the Atlanta Hawks, who finished ahead of the Heat last season, and you can't discount Washington anymore. All of a sudden, that 3-for-1 trade they made for Russell Westbrook and what they're getting from Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Montrezl Harrell, it's made a difference for them also. So really, every team in the Heat's division in the Southeast, with the exception of the Orlando Magic, is right up there as a contender. So there's no gimmies. I agree. Tonight's an important game, which sounds kind of weird 8 days into the season, but I think you're correct, Big O.
Well, it goes back to the theme you and I have talked about a couple of weeks ago, that the Heat do need to start out strong and they do need to build up the wins. You don't want to be in any kind of position where you find yourself in the bottom half of that playoff bracket. They need to be in the top half of that playoff bracket. So you can't go coasting and thinking, well, we'll drop a couple games here, we'll pick it up later on.
Right.
This isn't the
we learned that lesson. We learned that lesson the hard way last season with a rough start. And you know what? It just sounds weird. And I know people, I need to keep my 82 game perspective. But you leave the arena tonight at 4-1, you feel a hell of a lot better about yourself than if you leave at 3-2, second night of back-to-back, facing 500, 2 days off, going into Dallas, another nationally televised game. So, yeah, things like this do matter. Games like this do matter. The Heat know it. We'll see how much it means to them. We'll see how healthy they are.
Hey, Memphis ain't no joke, man. They beat Golden State last night.
Oh, no, they've been very, very good at the start of the season. Look, I'm going to go back to one thing. And again, I don't do this that often, but when I did my mock draft a year ago for the 2020 draft, I had the Heat taking Desmond Bane as a 3-point shooter. I think that could have been almost transformative for the franchise. Instead of Precious Achiuwa, who was obviously up and down, mostly down the second half of the season. One, in Desmond Bane, you'd add another 3-point shooter. Two, if Desmond Bane as a rookie showed what he showed with Memphis, maybe you don't rush out and give Duncan Robinson 5 years at $90 million. Maybe you say, you know what? We got Desmond Bane on a rookie scale for 4 more years. We got Max Strus, at a low contract, for a couple of years. Maybe we wait on Duncan and see what the market tells us instead of selling the market. So I think what happened in the 2020 draft is interesting. Now, Precious Achiuwa helped you get, Kyle Lowry, so you have to look at it that way. But still, I think that could have made a difference. So you're going to see Desmond Bane tomorrow with the Grizzlies also. They got a nice team. They put it together well. Doesn't mean they make the playoffs in the West because the West still is the West. But yeah, second night of a back-to-back, I can think of a lot of other things I'd rather do.
By the way, tonight and tomorrow night, I would like a little Duncan show, okay? I mean, I know it's time. Yes, it's time. I know we talked about it earlier in the week that, okay, he starts off slow. Last year he did the same thing. A couple games, he'll get it right back on. Well, the next 2 nights, I'd like for Duncan to, start lighting it up here because they need him big time.
And with Kyle, ailing, as you mentioned, Bam Adebayo has a bruise. I think he'll play because he's Bam and they're raising his Olympic banner to the rafters tonight. But again, you need a little bit more support system. We're looking at a Heat team where I can trust 7 right now. Starting lineup, I'm including Duncan for now, of Bam and PJ and Duncan and Jimmy and Kyle. First 2 off the bench, Hero and Dedmon, absolutely. Dedmon was terrific in Brooklyn the other day. Markieff Morris, a little bit up and down. You have to go more than 7 deep. And if you're going 7 deep, you have to have 7 reliable. So, yeah, I think we need to see $90 million Duncan a little bit more. I agree.
But, Ira, I've watched the Morris boys, and Markieff, that's who he is. He's never really been Mr.
That's why he's on a minimum scale contract. That's why the Lakers let him walk and tried to get something better and move up a little. So, again, hey, if that's your 8th man and you're not starting him, that's not a problem. You get half good games, half bad games. You play someone else. Maybe Max Strus steps up. Maybe eventually Victor Oladipo comes back. You play a little bit more small ball, so you still have a chance. And again, Big O, because this is the theme right here. And it shows on the Acura Pembroke Pines lot right there also. What's not going away, they probably have matter of fact, can you do me a favor during your next long break? Go out to the parking lot. And I think there's a spot right there that says reserved for future Heat point guard, because that still is an issue. And you know what, again, if Kyle Lowry doesn't play tonight or can't play tomorrow, God bless Gabe Vincent, but we saw in Indiana, it was rough and they could not get into offense. That's something they still have to address. And I will not, that's my platform. I've already made my campaign platform going forward. It's to get another veteran point guard in here by hook or crook. I don't care about the salary cap. Andy Ellisberg has his magic. But again, tonight, if there is, think about these next two nights, a matter of fact, Big O. If there's no Kyle Lowry, you're going against LaMelo Ball, you're going against Ja Morant. Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a deficit. With the Kyle Lowry and his veteran savvy, I would feel a lot better about that matchup.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you don't want to go in with right now, it's a different team without Lowry.
Yes, it's completely different team.
Changes.
It's a play-in team. That's the concern, yeah.
Yes. And that's scary because they're not playing talent, but it shows you how that one piece brings everything up.
Again, and I mentioned this in our Pallet Rock City Inside the Paint the other day. Every other position in the starting lineup is somewhat replaceable. I'm not saying that Dwayne Dedmon is as good as Bam, but he's good enough that if he has to start, you go, okay, I can live with that. Right. PJ Tucker, if you have to start Markieff Morris, you can live with that. Duncan Robinson, if he's out and you have to start Max Strus, hey, he's shown that he can get stuff like that done. Jimmy Butler, if he's out, hey, you have Tyler Hero. You can't give me another name that says, hey, if Kyle Lowry is out, we have this, unless you start Tyler Hero and you change your bench rotation and you put bigger minutes on him. That's the one thing. So the Heat have all these boxes filled up for Plan B, but one box for Plan B is still missing.
Well, by the way, here at Craig Zinn's Acura Pembroke Pines, I don't know if you know this, but James Chalmers works here. He is a cousin of Mario Chalmers.
Oh, and Mario has been lobbying for months to get back in the NBA. He's been playing in Greece.
Should I go talk to James? He's in here right now. I could just go see him right now and say, yo, come on. Tell your cousin to come on over.
Rio would sit down next to you if you can get him hired here or there. So either that or I'll borrow a car from Rio at Acura Pembroke Pines, one of the two.
All right. So what happens? You think they split this?
I don't want to split, but I could see a split coming. I also think when we ask Eric Spoelstra today, how are you going to approach it? He's going to go, we're the Miami Heat. We play every game to win. Then I'll get handed a sheet shortly before the game tomorrow at FedEx Forum in Memphis saying players X, Y, and Z are not available to Heat due to load management, due to rest, or something like that. That's what makes tonight all that more important, to get the game tonight against the Hornets when you're rested, and that quick flight over to Memphis and the turnaround real quickly for an 8 p.m. Eastern time game tomorrow. So, yeah, I think you want to at least try to get the first one of these. Absolutely.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heapy. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Subscribe and support him there. And, of course, you can catch him multiple times here a week with the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. And on Wednesdays, the best basketball show in town, one hardcore hour of Miami Heat and NBA talk on the Pallet Rock City Inside the Paint show, 9 to 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. Ira, thank you, my brother. Safe travels, my friend. You be good.
Off to Memphis we go. A little barbecue, a little country music. Thanks, Big O.
Nothing wrong with that. Be good. There you go. Ira Winderman. Good stuff there, as always, from Ira, man.